Hey everybody, this is Greg Gould interviewing Tyler Womack of the band No Consent for Punk Globe magazine. How's it going, Tyler?
Good. How are you?
Very, very good. So yeah, tell me how No Consent formed.
So it was about late 2018, maybe early 2019. It was me and the original members of the band. We were actually all headed to a leftover crack show, and we on the way back, everyone was too drunk, so I was like, "I'll drive." I was just a few years sober off of alcohol. I quit, and um, but I was really abusive of alcohol and stuff. So I was like, "Yeah, I'll be the drunk, the non-drunk driver." And we're driving back, and like someone mentioned, like, "Oh yeah, I play bass," and I was like, "What?" Then other guys like, "Oh really? I play drums. I play guitar." And I was like, "I play guitar and I sing." And I was like, "Let's start a band."
Like
So then
everybody in
we
the
ended up
car just happened to like kind of interesting.
play the instruments we needed everyone to play, to start a full band. If anything, members, punk bands usually, good three-piece, fine.
That's cool.
So
And so had anybody kind of come from other bands, or they were just like, well, let's
yeah,
try
I
something.
think we all had played in a bunch. I'm pretty sure all of us had played in bands. Cody of the original band played. He played in a bunch of different metal bands. Todd had played in a bunch of metal bands. Shane had played one. There is pretty much just a bunch of metalhead dudes, and I love metal too. But I'm true to heart. I'm a punk rocker, and so just kind of was like, hey, we should start a punk band, and they were like, sure, cool, let's do it. And we just kind of threw everything we liked together, and that's why a lot of people, no one can really put like a finger on our sound because it's kind of just a little bit of everything we like, you know what I mean? So
Totally. It's funny, listening to it, I really get like a 90s kind of punk vibe, that era, you
right,
know?
which
Uh,
that's when I was born in '92. I'm the baby of the band now,
right on.
and so. But I love any punk. I like old school punk. I'm a sucker for British punk boy. Uh,
Totally.
I like anything. As long as I've always said, as long as it's good music, I'll listen to it. Like, you'll catch me listening to any type of music, but I'm always listening to punk if anything. It's my favorite.
Yeah, it's funny. I don't know if I ever had told you this story, but one time I was walking the dog. We're over in Shea Meadow,
Okay.
and I was walking the dog, and I heard this drummer like from nowhere. You never hear that going on,
Right.
just like in the neighborhood air. So I'm like, I thought maybe somebody had moved in or something. Did I tell you this story?
No, I don't think
I
so.
was telling your drummer this that night
Right.
at Big Bear Bar and Grill, and I'm
Right.
like, God, man, somebody must have just moved in. This guy's like really, really good. And I'm like walking the dog. I'm like, I want to find this guy. Like, knock on the door and be like, hey, we should jam sometime.
Right.
And I got to like the 38, and I'm like, oh shit, it's coming like from Sugarloaf.
Right.
Like, but like I had to get back and stuff like that. I'm like, oh fuck, but if I ever hear it again, I'm gonna come around and find out. And
I think that's probably Art he's talking about. Our old drummer Shane was amazing as well. He's still a drummer and still drums for, I forget what his new band's called, but he's starting up a new project as well. I wish
cool.
I could plug it right now, but yeah, Art's an amazing drummer. He's traveled the world, played in bands like Murder, Death, Kill, Blood Stand Still, Donnybrook.
It,
Currently with Sense for Your Kids, they're
right,
seasoned veterans. I stole them somehow. I don't know how I
right
got so
on.
lucky.
Score. Well, so it's the drummer and the guitar player are brothers, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Danny Benura, Art Benura. They're both from the high desert, originally from Ridgecrest.
Got it.
Those are two of my best friends. These are awesome. They're knuckleheads. Are cool.
So yeah, when you guys play around, like what are some of your favorite venues?
Honestly, we played. I like this place up in Sacramento. It's called Harlow's. That place is really fun, really cool.
Hmm.
Um, we played this place in San Francisco called the Kilowatt Bar. That was awesome. we were on a 30-day tour with Jam 69. Reggie's in Chicago is super cool. There's man, and yeah, there's a bunch of super cool local spots we always like to play, but
You guys ever play
sure
in
just get
Vegas?
some
There's a
love out
place
of that.
called the Double Down that's pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah, we played the Double Down a few
Have you?
times.
Yeah.
Played Yeah, we played the Dive Bar. We played. Yeah, I love playing in Vegas too. It's always a good time. If I had you put a gun in my head and I had to pick like a favorite of all time, it I would still be stuck between two, and one of them was playing with the Exploited. It was Exploited, Total Chaos, and Pro Mags and us at the Blasco for like 1,500 people or more, and the place went off. That place is beautiful. We had such a good time, and then also when we got to go play Rebellion Fest, and I think that was more so, and that's out in England, and that was more so just being able to see all these bands in like the Empress Ballroom where the Queen used to hang out, and now here's GBH, and here's like these bands I listened to growing up, and it's like, whoa, I've never like some of the bands I'd never even seen, and I had to mark off a bunch of bands off my checklist.
Hmm.
Uh, and it was almost like a dream come true. We always talk about it. It was like a movie. We even had like trials and tribulations. We lost a member halfway through the trip, and we still somehow pulled it off and killed it.
Wow.
So, you know,
Just gone, huh? Just like that. That's it. And found somebody to step in.
no, we just went. He
Wow.
was mad because we had another member at the time had health complications, and
Sure.
he had to step out. So that's when Dan and Art actually stepped in, and then the other guy was friends with the guy that had to step out because of health complications. Well, behind the scenes, I guess they didn't like us very much, or there was some like, hey, whatever. Oh,
Sure.
they're out to get us or whatever it was.
Right.
And so once we got over there, because of that whole thing and adding Dan and Art, where there was more people than were supposed to be there, they only gave us a certain amount of wristbands. Well, I ended up working it out to where his girlfriend got a VIP wristband still, so
Hmm.
she was still a guest. That wasn't good enough, and he threw a huge tantrum, and yeah, so we ended up losing him, and but then we decided we didn't. Well, then we tried another guitarist, and that didn't work out. And so now we've just said, you know what, screw the lead guitarist, and like I used to play guitar,
Hmm.
but we like the fact of I feel like with Dan being such a strong and heavy rhythm guitarist, having me as a rhythm guitarist was just redundant at that point.
Right.
Especially as like I never thought of myself as like, damn, I'm a really good guitarist. Like,
Right. Right.
you know what I mean? Like I was like,
And
I'm
it kind
not
of
like,
frees you up too.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Now I get to kind of have more theatrics and jump around on stage and uh, just kind of have more. I honestly feel like I have more fun not attached to a guitar. Um,
And it just kind of tightened the chemistry up.
exactly. And then yeah, with having two brothers on, and then we have Scotty, our bassist, who's like, oh man, I love Scotty. He's just a big old dope, but he's one of the guys that you got to watch out for if shit goes down. He's gonna be the guy throwing punches, but most of the time he's like in his SpongeBob shirt, just hanging out. You know what I
Right
mean?
on.
I love Scotty. He's a character, and our whole band is cool. It's never felt as much as like the first group of dudes were some of my best friends I've known for my whole entire life, and I still don't feel like it was as tight or as close knit as it is now. And I've known these, the longest I've known anyone in the band, I think is 6 years, is Dan and Art, and
Mhm.
it feels like I've known them my whole fucking life,
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting. It's like sometimes you could be like best friends with somebody, but it just doesn't work out as roommates.
yep, exactly.
Whereas these guys kind of came in, but it kind of gels in a different way.
And we're the kind of guys that we like on that Cham 69 tour, all of us had our different arguments with each other and got like, there was one point I thought Dan and Scotty were going to fight on the freeway in our tall ass Sprinter van, going 80 miles an hour they both stood up and squared up, and it was like, oh shit.
Oh
And
man,
luckily cooler heads prevailed, and
the show went
got
on.
yeah, we stopped at a gas station, dudes hugged it out and got it over with. It's like the end of the day, we're on the same team, we're family, we're gonna piss each other off for 30 days and stuck in a van together. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
probably gonna get on my fucking nerves at one point. Even as much as I love you, I may
Yeah,
not
yeah,
like you for like a little bit, but
totally.
to, tomorrow or give it a few hours, let me have some food in me first. We're probably best friends.
The bands that you've played with, who are the ones that you really kind of liked and experienced with playing with other bands and stuff?
So I always have to say it is Guttermouth is one of our favorite bands to play with, just because Guttermouth is so much fun. They're some of our favorite fucking boneheads there are. There's all just a bunch of fun dudes. They're always cracking jokes. Um, I love those guys. They're honestly they become really close friends and they're great dudes. Um, Other bands, Exploited, they're amazing. Waddy, like he's every time I ran into him, he always says hello to my kids before anything. Like he's a real punk. Waddy's a true motherfucker, and that's the only way I can really explain him. TSOL, those dudes are awesome.
Right on.
Uh, they're some of the nicest people in the world. Jack and Ron are like some of the coolest dudes. They're all awesome, but Jack and Ron are always they treat us amazing. The Dwarfs, gotta love the Dwarfs. They're awesome people. Um, Nick Oliveri's fucking great. Blag is fucking hilarious, and he's crazy and insane on stage. And then you get off stage, and he's like one of the most soft spoken, nicest dudes you've ever met. And it's all pretty much just it's a character. It's let's have fun. We're here. You're here for a show. Let me give you a fucking show. I'm gonna act like I'm
Totally.
the coolest motherfucker in the place.
Right
And
on.
yeah, there's so many bands that are just a blast to play with. It's obviously bands that aren't the most fun to play with. And back to a band that's really fun to play with. I almost forgot MDC, Millions of Dead Cops. I love
Mm-hmm.
Dave Dichter, Barry Ward. Oh my god, they're all amazing people. Uh, Fucking yeah, there's probably more Voodoo Glow Skulls. I could go on for days of
Sure.
bands that are just awesome people. Uh, yeah, we'll leave all the ones that aren't fun to play without, but the
Right on. Sounds good. So, do you guys have any plans for new releases, or what do you have that's out right now that people can listen to?
so right now we have just our debut album. So we have Bastard Nation out. That released. We released it a few times, honestly. We had one record label that went to shit. We went to a different record label, which is who we're with now, British Records,
Hmm.
and they're amazing. That's partially ran by Dave Dichter and Sophie, his wife.
Nice.
Uh, Once again, amazing people. Uh, and then so we put that out, yeah, a few years back, finally officially to where it stayed up, and we're not going to get it taken back down because craziness. But then now, June 13th, we're actually releasing a single.
Okay.
So we have a new song called "Waste Your Life Away," and it's about addiction. It deals with, like I said, I'm 7 years sober off of booze and 9 years off of hard drugs, and I don't want to be that guy out here preaching like I'm sober, so you need to be sober too. It's not that at all. It's just this is a song for I feel like anyone can relate to it because
Yeah.
yeah, you can waste your life away or you can fight another day.
In millions of different ways you can,
Yeah,
so it's like it's not just about that
yeah, I just told it through my perspective and my
lens.
eyes of, hey, I did so many drugs and I drank so much alcohol that I'm good for a lifetime. If
Right.
you're not and you can handle it, have fun, please. I'll cheers my water with you or my Red Bull, whatever I may be drinking,
Sure.
and we'll have a good time. My non-alcoholic beer sometimes, but have a great time. My joint, whatever.
Mhm.
Let's have a wonderful time. But if you have a serious problem, then there's probably someone you could talk to, or even just look inside yourself and try to fix it. Shit,
Mhm.
I'll talk to you. I don't care, whoever you are, if you're watching this.
Yeah, so the video then that you guys just shot, that's for that single.
Yeah, so that's gonna be for that single, and full album will be releasing in July. I'm not exactly sure the date yet. I think we're still kind of tentative on it, making sure we're not overlapping other bands on Grimace Records and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Um, we don't want to be a diva about things, but so
Right.
we're just trying to trying
Good
to figure out
roster
that
on
date.
that
I think they're
label.
working on getting into it. Absolutely, it's crazy. It's craziness how many good bands are on such a like technically a small label, and
Hmm. Hmm.
so, but that's the cool thing is Grimace does amazing things for the community. They've always done like compilations where they've donated money to different charities, different funds, different national crises
Hmm.
that needed help. So
That's
that was
cool.
one thing that it was like, of course, we would love to work with Grimace when we first heard about it. And I was like, plus Dave Dicker, like
Yeah, how
I've
did that
listened
come
to like
about?
I remember. So that's another show that I could say is probably one of my favorites. We played a show at Pappy and Harriet's about God, it must have been 4 or 5 years ago, maybe even longer. I can't even remember, but somehow we got put on the show with Dead Kennedys, MDC, and us, and had Pappy and Harriet's on the outside, and it was like, what? Of course we'll play, like
Yeah.
yeah. They handed me a check afterwards, and I was like, "Are you sure?" You know what I mean? Like, I
Right
don't
on.
I don't know you money. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah. That's awesome.
so we were sitting there, and we got done playing, and MDC was about to go, or maybe MDC went and played. Yeah, I think MDC played, and then I like rushed. I've been a huge Millions of Dead Cops fan since I was a little kid. Like I remember listening to MDC and the Dicks as a kid and being like, "These are oh my goodness, like these bands are crazy." And
Yeah. Who got you into it in the first place?
my buddy, my brother's like best friend James is
Okay.
actually the first time I came home from school or something. I was probably 10, maybe even younger than that, maybe 9, 8. I can't even remember. I walked in the house and I was like, I was so used to my brother always listening to metal and stuff like that.
Right.
And I walked in and I was like, what's this noise? You know what I
The
mean?
sound just got you.
Yeah, it was some like British band, and I remember just walking in and being like, "Whoa, this is." And I think that's why like any British punk kind of just like sticks with me more, is because that was some of the first shit I listened to. And
Right.
but I remember my brother's friend was like, "Oh, you like this?" and like gave me that. He gave like had a burnt CD, so he's like, "Here, you can have the CD," and I was like, "What?" So I listened to that like on repeat, and it was just like British punk, like it was his
Right.
British punk mix or whatever. And then after that, every time he'd come over, he'd be like, "Hey, check out this, check out that." And that's when my brother was like, "You like music?" I was like, "I love music." And he was like, "Oh." So he
Try
started
this.
burning me all of his CDs. So I started listening to all this metal, and
The
then
best.
my brother was like listening to punk, and yeah, my brother was a very heavy influence on my music taste, and
Hmm.
so were his friends, because they were like, "Oh, cool," I they all treated me like their little brother, so I
Yeah,
eventually just
yeah.
kind of got handed.
What stuff were they
It
giving you?
was So he would give me like crazy different mixes that he would just make back like I don't even know if it was LimeWire days. It might have been Napster back then or
Right.
something like that.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't even think LimeWire was. I was so young. It was probably Napster or some crap like that. And then he would burn me like the he would get the compilation CDs, like when you used to go to like Hot Topic and you can get all the compilation CDs, or you get them through the mail and through you go buy a magazine and come with a compilation, all that kind of different stuff.
Yeah.
Whenever he
Right.
got a comp CD, he would go and just burn it for me. And
Hmm.
then it finally became to the point where I was like, "Hey, you gotta check out this CD," and I gave him like his first burnt CD from me, and he probably already had it, but I'm sure he took it and was like,
Hmm.
"Thanks, dude,"
Yeah,
But
totally.
I thought I was really cool giving him one back. You know what I mean?
But speaking about no consent, the sound, to me, it's very accessible. Like
Right.
you hear it once, you get it. Sometimes you have to listen to things a few times, and it kind of gets into under your skin and stuff like that. But like you have a couple opening riffs, and boom, it's just like you kind of just get it. That's my
Oh,
impression.
I appreciate that. That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's a good thing to say. My mom used to always say she liked my voice because I enunciate very well, and I always thought that
yeah,
was a weird but good compliment. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, I like that. You know what
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Like
And
it's
it
one of those
totally
ones.
works.
Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah.
I like that compliment. I don't think I've ever heard that one. That's a good one.
Tell us then, where can the readers and the fans of Punk Globe find you and your music and stuff like that?
So we're on No Consent. We're on Instagram as No Consent Band. We're on Facebook as No Consent. We're on TikTok as No Consent. We just started our TikTok, but it's doing pretty all right.
Right on.
Um, TikTok's super accessible, so I think that's the cool thing. Is it actually, as much as people talk shit, hey, social media is a thing, and if it's gonna push fans and help people get their shit out there, cool, do it. You know what I mean? Like
Totally. I mean,
I'm
it's
that
like you
person
you
that's
kind of
like,
got to go where the flow is, and use it to your advantage. You know.
I'm writing music at the end of the day for me and like my band. We want to write music that we think is cool. But at the
Mhm.
end of the day, yeah, I would love for people to listen to it and also enjoy it. Like I'm not going to pretend like I don't care if anyone listens to it. Like no, please go listen to it. I hope
Yeah.
you listen to it a million times. That would mean we're doing good. You know what I mean? Like
Right,
that's
right.
awesome.
Sure.
So I'm not going to be too cool and be like, nah, I don't really care if anyone listens to it. You know what I mean? Like, no,
Right.
please. Like,
Yeah.
I'm begging you, please. We
No,
work really
right.
hard on this shit.
Totally. Totally. And plans. Do you guys have any plans to play any shows upcoming?
Yeah. So we kind of took July or June off
Mhm.
because it wasn't really planned, but our other brother band pretty much since we were kids had a full like lineup shows of was Agent Orange, which all just got postponed. So
I
now
saw a
we're kind of
post
both
about
like, oh
that.
crap.
Yeah, I saw a post about that.
So it sucks, yeah. So now both us and since we were kids are like, damn, we don't have much of anything going on June, huh? You know what I mean?
Right on.
So after that, we have July 12th. We're playing Gutterfest, and that's out in Garden Amp, and it's going to be with Guttermouth. There's like a million bands on that show. It's one of the most stacked lineups we've been on in a minute since like Rebellion Festival.
Nice.
And then after that, we're going to be doing, we just announced a show today. It's called Lakeside Slam. Yeah, that's what they're calling it, Lakeside Slam. And that's going to be down in Lake Elsinore. And it's going to have like DOS Clown, No Consent, Sense for Your Kids, VCS, One Square Mile, Rare Sense, Heroes and Fools. It's got tons of bands on it, and it's cool because it's like right up against the lake, so you're gonna be able to swim while listening to punk. There's also gonna be
How
skateboarding
cool.
stuff.
Fun.
Yeah, it's. I'm like, what? This sounds awesome. You know, like I'm gonna
Yeah,
hop
I've
in
never been there.
after the set.
What are your general feelings about like the political state of the world and the country right now?
Oh, I hate politics. And when I was a kid, I wanted to be a politician because I was innocent and thought, politicians actually fix things and do good
Yeah.
stuff. And I
Maybe
remember
you
actually
can
being
grow
like,
up and
yeah, I
become
think it'd be,
president.
yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
no, unless you're like from a rich family or, been endorsed since you were a little kid, you're probably not going to make any changes. And even if you get in office, you're just going to be a puppet to them. I honestly hate politics. I'm that person. I wish that there was a perfect world where we could all govern ourselves and hold each other accountable,
Sure.
but not everyone would buy into that. And I don't think there's going to ever be a politician that makes things better, or they can fix certain things, but it's like saying like, does a judge really fix anything by giving a verdict? Like, no, they don't even know after they give that verdict. They don't even know what the repercussions of the verdict they gave are.
Right.
It's almost like a politician to me. It's the same kind of concept. Is yeah, they might tweak a little thing, and then the next guy comes in 4 years later and goes, screw all that. I don't
Switched
like
it
any of
back.
that. So
Yeah.
it's like, oh yeah, it's just it's a game of chess. It's a two-party system. It's
Yeah.
it's we're one party away from just having a single party, which that's how the Nazis ran.
Right.
So it is what it is. I try to just live my fucking life and not even pay attention to the news or anything. So it's just depressing and sad. And listening
I
to
think like
politicians is just depressing and sad.
so many people are kind of reaching that point, I think, too, where they're just like, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna do me and just kind of,
Yeah.
because what can you
I
do,
used to be so heavily invested. I used to be
Right.
so heavily invested into politics, and
Sure.
I don't give a fuck anymore. I really don't. I
Right.
hate them all. I think they're all terrible. They're
Hmm.
at the end of the day, it's like I'm not a big fan of the police. I think that it's
Hmm.
a corrupt job to start with.
Right.
So it's like saying, do I really think all cops are bastards? No, I'm sure there's some that go home and love their wife and have beautiful families and they work their ass off. I have cousins and
Sure.
uncles that were in the police, and were they bastards? Sometimes probably, but no, not all the time. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like they're pretty good guys. I'm
Sure.
pretty sure that they upheld the law and did right by the system. But it's just like politicians. I think it's inherently corrupt.
Right.
It's your
And for somebody
there's
thinking
kind of
that
no
way, it's
getting
an
around
easy
it.
way. It's an easy way to get in and kind of muddy the water a little bit.
Exactly. And like I said, yeah, it's inherently corrupt. There's no getting around it. You're kind of fucked.
Right.
No matter what, you get into that line of work, and it's like saying, "Oh, I'm going to join the mob, but I'm not going to do any crime." well, good
Yeah.
luck. You know what I mean? Like you're in the mob. So, hey guys, this is Tyler Womack from the band No Consent. We want to wish Punk Globe Magazine a happy birthday.
Any last words?
Look out for our single, June 13th, Friday the 13th. Waste Your Life Away. It's going to be out on all streaming platforms. It's going to be on YouTube. We have a badass music video for it. Look out for July. Our full album, which is also called Waste Your Life Away, is going to be releasing. We'll have a date for it soon. If you want to know it, make sure you check our Instagram. Go ahead and follow us and just stay tuned. We have a lot of awesome things coming up in the works. We're looking at doing tours, merch like crazy. Our vinyls are getting printed, and they're some of the most insane vinyls I've ever seen in my life. They're coming from Dublin, Ireland. So that's also kind of a cool little fact. Um, yeah, I can't wait for the future and what it holds for No Consent.
Cool. And then one more time, places where people can find you and see when you're playing and stuff like that.
Absolutely. So you can find us on Instagram at No Consent Band. You can find us on Facebook, No Consent. TikTok is No Consent. We're streaming everywhere on every major platforms, or also on YouTube as just No Consent. Um, you can always follow us on Instagram, and that's probably the best way to see our upcoming shows and just follow us and see what we're doing. And you can even hit us up. You're probably going to be talking to me. Yeah, give us a shout. What's going on, guys?
So this has been Greg Gould with Punk Globe Magazine interviewing Tyler from No Consent. Thanks a lot, Tyler.
Thank you so much. This was awesome, and I appreciate you as always.
Awesome. Take it easy.
Looking at you too, brother.